Again, Arch Park. So that's where one day a police officer, Bobby on the beat, when it used to be like that, we was sat on that wall then, and I had this kind of sort of stick in my hand, and he was walking up here and he went, "What are you do with that?" I went, "Nothing." I'll never forget it. So over there used to be Danny Bentham. Danny Bentham used to live there. He was a grouchy fat kid, didn't like me very much, but then again neither did the Kalakis. So there was two of them. It was the brother. He terrorized me as a kid. He used to call me Frog Eyes. Horrendous. It used to really upset me as well. I don't know why, but I put it all together now and I think, oh my god, it's starting to make sense. Good bit. So the Kalakis, Andrew and his brother, I think his brother was called Stephen, I could be wrong, but it's definitely Andrew Kalaki who was in my class, and he's pictured with me as a kid up at Parkfield. So he used to live there, and obviously this is Sefton Close. So down there is when it starts getting a little bit more exquisite. Down there on the left, when we went to see the Pope, when my mother and father were together, that summer's morning when we walked up to Heaton Park, if I remember right, I'm sure it was Heaton Park, we walked this way, down the dirt track, over the fields, and that's the way we went up that day. Three of us, that's my mother, my father and just me. That's just me. And we took this route. Exactly. 100%. That's how you know they're my memories, because there's thousands and endless of them. It's just the police won't question me, and haven't questioned me yet. It's because they know what the goddamn truth is. Because they know I'm the original. That's what the real problem is. And it's political, it's expensive, and it's dangerous in regards to what's going on. But there was a woman that screamed and shouted at Andrew Kalaki one day. She lived there. I'm sure he had a kind of sort of dispute with her as a kid. I forget her name. I can't remember what they nicknamed her, but she was she'd scream and shout and all the rest of it. So this is kind of sort of, as Joe will tell you, adventure paradise. So it's private property and I shouldn't be going on there, but it's kind of sort of got to be approved in a way, hasn't it? And only I would know these certain aspects. So what I'll do is take you through what me and Joe and others used to do in regards to the vicarage. Now you got to remember, I know where everything is. This is the first time this is going on record. Joe will tell you, here there used to be a wall along here. There used to be a big gap, and the big gap used to be really long blades of grass, and I'm on about like 6 feet. What we'd do is we'd run from there and jump in to the deep grass. But there was a wall, used to be a wall here, and they'd let the grass overgrow. We'd go into it that way, just messing around, kind of silly, getting nettle bites, and I'd forever come home to my nana's in nettle bites. But here's the big one. So Mojo, old Joseph, he was on, if I remember rightly, a BMX, but I'm sure he was on Keely Fallon's sister, Shelley. He was on that bike that I used to run around Archer Park on. But he'll tell you, he got stung one day because there was a bee's nest right here, and as he was riding past, I threw the brick deliberately at the bee's nest, and they stung him, and he's probably never forgiven me. So it was round about here. Now this wall here, this wall was never here, so this has been put here, if I remember rightly. Oh no, it could have been there. But the tree that I got stuck up, I think they've done something with it, you know, because it was more or less here. So this tree, the fire brigade had to be called out, and my auntie Marlene, would you believe, was visiting us up at Harold Street that day, because I'll never forget. Oh, Jeffrey, what are you like, and all this, and they had to bring the fire brigade out because I got stuck up that tree like a goddamn fucking cat. Meow, literally. They had to come out and help me down, man, because I couldn't get down and I was shitting myself because I'd climbed too high, because obviously that's what I love to do as a kid, is climb trees. So this bee's nest was around here, and as he was riding past, I threw it deliberately out, and they went at him and stung him like you wouldn't believe, man. So again, I'm moving to the back of the vicarage now, and only I would know this, and Joe Allen, of course, and obviously others. So I'll tell you what's round this corner. How would I know? Ask Joe, he'll tell you. That's how you know it's me. So this is all overgrown and left to waste. But all this, like the berries and nettles, all this wasn't it. It was actually quite neat and tidy. But as you can see, the vicarage in itself is abandoned now. It's abandoned. So round this corner, as I'm about to show you, should be a few steps that would lead you into the cellar, and they'd leave that open. It was just always dusty and dank and miserable, and I'll never forget it. So how would I know? Let's see whether it's still here or not. Oh, this is going to be a nightmare, because this is all la la la. There we are. Still here. Oh my god, it's still here. God, look at this. So the steps I was telling you about, that's the cellar of the vicarage, and they'd leave that door open and you could actually gain access to it. But this goes right round the vicarage, this path. Obviously none of this was here, and we'd ride around it on our bikes, racing and so on and so on. But you could actually, round the corner there, go off and go onto the fields. I mean, the houses are there now, but you could go onto the fields and get back down to my nana's that way. So it's good to see that things are still standing, man. So all you got to do is ask Joe Allen, he'll tell you. So Ryan Swales and Nigel Kenyon and people like Lee Turley and everything. Lee Turley lived at the top of Harold Street. Ryan Swales lived at the back of Long Street. He lived at the back of Long Street in some houses. Or was it Long Street or is it Wood Street? It could have been Wood Street. But he said that over the other side of the field. But yeah. So how would I know that? How would I know anything? I'll tell you how I knew. It's because it was me that was there. I'm not some fucking ridiculous idiot trying to be me. So obviously I'm going into private property here. This is where Joe used to live. His dad, Joe Allen, obviously the famous writer. Let's just, I shouldn't be filming, you know, like public property and stuff. But over there, at the back, is where we used to play football. In the garage there, I threw a rock at a window, and it crushed the window, and his dad hated me forever because of it. If I remember rightly, it was quite a good throw as well, because I was doing it out of anger. In the end, I was a bit raucous as a kid. I'd throw tantrums. But yeah, So what I'll do is I'll take you up Harold Street. I've only got 10 minutes left on the actual thing. It looks like I'm gonna have to delete an app just to give myself some more kind of memory on the phone. But Harold Street, these are the best days, man. So over there used to be Michael and Stephanie Rushton. They live on the left side of there, and down the bottom is where Jonathan Fisher and Sonny Brown Nursery is. But at the back of Sonny Brown Nursery is the golf course, and I used to love playing down there. It was like that scene out of There Will Be Blood, when him and his kid, they're wandering through looking for the oil, and you know, it's a really sunny night and they're in this kind of like small paddock of woodland, bit like that in a way, or it was anyway. So David Gunnell, who I spoke to on Facebook a few years ago, used to live there. He was a raucous little individual, lives in Northern Ireland now. Well, he told me he was living in Northern Ireland. So this is where the adventure began for me, more or less anyway. But it's when my mother and father were together, and obviously Parkfield Primary School. That's where I went as a kid. Obviously I don't want to be filming children because people will think all sorts. But there's railings there now, whereas it used to be a kind of sort of like a brick panelling. It's a bit like a brick panelling. So here I am on my Archer Street here, Keely Fallon. I used to live in one of these. I'm sure it's number 26. I could be wrong, but we'll soon see in regards to that. So it's 32. It's 32 Harold Street, not 11. That was 11, so it should be still no parking. There is no parking, man. So my bedroom was at the top, and that's where Basil died, in the living room. That was a parrot that we put in a King Edward the cigar box at the bottom of the garden. So obviously there's a lot of people staring at me because they don't know who I am and so forth. So Lee Turley would live a few houses up, and kind of so up here, and he used to have this kind of like green padded jacket, and he'd wear these knee socks with this green padded jacket, and by fucking God did that boy know how to throw, man. He knew how to throw, and I'm telling you. So this fencing here, obviously you can't see, but I know for a fact, is obviously you can't see beyond there. They've always been there, those railings, because behind it is the golf course. So Lindsay, on the slaphead, who used to be in my class, she's also in the picture as well. She used to live round the corner. She used to live round the corner here, and so did Natalie Burrell. Natalie Burrell, if I remember rightly, used to live around here somewhere. I'm more than positive. I could be wrong. But what you got to remember is that all the kids for Parkfield were kind of sort of like they were all kind of sort of like local. Jason Edwards was the only one kind of sort of like not local from what I remember rightly, because Jason Edwards, obviously I spoke to him on Facebook years ago. He he lived in Shulver or Durker. It was somewhere out there like that. But me and Jason Edwards were big buddies at school, and we'd always take the piss out of Barry Wimbledon. Not his brother Ian, but Barry. And we'd be in the primary school library. And we'd have this book that we'd always go to, and it'd always show these kind of like orc-like creatures with really big bellies and bulbous heads. And Jason, the way he used to speak, he'd talk like this. Hey Barry, have you seen this? Pecker snacker. And we would just laugh and laugh and laugh, and I'm on about giggle and giggle at the most immature shit you've ever seen. But we'd always wind Barry up in regards to about being pecker snacker. We'd go, here Barry, I'm a pecker snacker. So he would hate that. And obviously Barry Wimbledon was a kind of like proper, he was a tough nut, his kid. His brother was harder, but they were both skinny kids, man, and they were tough. And I mean tough. I can't remember whether they had a sister, but there was definitely brothers. But as I'm going round here, he used to live, and the flats are still there, he used to live either on the top floor or on the middle floor, and that's where the brothers would live in regards to that. And the sisters, Tina McVeigh and Susan McVeigh, obviously Susan McVeigh is my first ever kiss, even though I fancied her sister Tina. But the one that I had my eye on as a kid that I absolutely adored was Jane Girdlestone. And her brother, he was mentally handicapped. But Jane Girdlestone was one of those kind of sort of like princess-like characters as a kid. Nobody could get near her. She wouldn't talk to anybody. Everything was kind of like airy fairy. She was really pretty, man. I thought she was really pretty as a kid anyway. But obviously she didn't fancy me, but that's always as it was with me as a kid. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it off here now, and then I'm going to take you down Sunnybrow and take you to hopefully the back end of that.